This is heavy.
Compressor gets picked up in the mics and
Good God.
just little stuff like that. Try to make it as professional as possible. But obviously, we're just hanging out in my basement. So thanks for coming, dude.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. Your name's Matt, correct?
Yep.
Okay, I want to make sure I had your name correct. And
All right, Daryl.
yeah, Bob, what's going on, dude? Yeah, I discovered your the Gremlin Wiring company that you guys have just online, and I think I just randomly messaged you and was like, "Hey, would you want to come talk about your company?"
Isn't that how it always goes? It's cold call.
Basically,
How
these
is it on?
days now, yeah.
How is it on the receiving side? Being like, what the fuck is this? You know when you come in your basement, like,
Well, I was fairly familiar with it.
Okay.
I've seen, like I saw, like I said, like y'all's last probably 5 or 6 ones. Like,
nice.
y'all have had Ben, Loaf, James, Nick, Dwayne. Like you've had all these people. Like I was familiar already.
Wait, okay, cool.
That helps.
Well, obviously, we've kind of morphed into most of the conversations that we've been having lately are around motorcycles and stuff. And
Because that's all we talk about.
I know
That's the kick we're on right now.
It's like the new thing, man. I spent a lot of time at the skate park and stuff, but I started getting hurt a lot. So I was like,
have you been up there lately?
Concrete one.
Yeah, the new city walk.
City walk.
Oh, it's hard concrete, man. It's
I only
It's
went on the
not
grand
forgiving.
opening.
Well, I went for the grand opening, had a great time, and then started going pretty regularly. We had like a group. My neighbor was going, and I discovered that he liked to skate, and so we were kind of going up there most Saturdays. But man, a couple of times getting hurt and limping into work, I was like, okay, maybe I need to chill on the skateboard.
You should
I'm
get
just
those knee pads,
I
man.
just don't have it like I thought I did, like I used to. You know,
It's in there though. You got it.
I don't know.
It's always like, I think for me, it's like a 2-week period. If I do it for 2 weeks straight, I'll start to get my balance back. But before that, I'm all over the place.
Yeah. Well, dude, there's like that mellow quarter pipe in the back. And so that's where we would call it like the old man section.
Oh, yeah.
So we'd be back there kind of staying away from all the dudes shredding in the middle of the park. And I don't know, man. Even on that, it was pretty intimidating just doing like slash grinds and stuff. And I don't know. And we're talking about like a little 3-foot quarter pipe. I mean, it's nothing.
Those are
you
the
know?
funnest ones. That's what I'd skate even when I actually knew how to skate.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what led us down this path. I guess me finally getting my Harley going. Yeah, it's just been like, dude, I'm like fired up about motorcycles and stuff. And I know I've said that already on the podcast. Yeah. But I'm kind of new to this scene that's been going on with the Haints and with all you dudes that have like been into this and building choppers, and so it's been cool to kind of go back and revisit and kind of hear about how you guys got into this and how motorcycles became like the next thing. It's like I see a commonality at least with people that were into really hardcore into skateboarding. I assume you probably had a skateboarding background of your own.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, just the transition to motorcycles and stuff has been. I don't know what is that? Why? It's
cool,
I'm
man.
not really sure. I know the chopper community, especially, and just Birmingham. If we came up skateboarding, that's the chopper community, pretty much. I mean, there's other people, but a lot of the people I've known for 20 plus years, there's, the Haints, the dojo, all them, and yeah, we've all known each other for so long, and just came up together doing motorcycles, and just ended up where we're at now.
Well, it's cool. It's a fun thing to do. It's a fun hobby. I'm hoping to get yours going soon.
We're
man.
so close.
I know we talked about that so
We
many
have their
times.
welding on it this weekend.
We don't know how to
What do you
weld, so that's the thing. It's like we need to learn.
It's
how
You
to
got
a
so.
lot of people.
You think you can snag that? He'll let you
Yes.
take off with it.
So I discovered today that my shop actually has a welder sitting in the back collecting dust. So I think I'm just gonna like take it home.
Borrow
a little TIG
it.
welder. I'm sure it's like a Harbor Freight. Just a little cheap one.
Hey, if it works, that'll do it.
So he's got a gas tank that we need to weld to his frame, and we had
You're
a
just going to
buddy.
weld it to the frame.
Well, I
No,
weld
no,
the
no.
bungs in to like.
Oh,
actually
gotcha. Oh, so you
it.
mount it. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
I would assume that's
Weld
what
it
they-
straight to the
Weld it
frame.
straight to the
It's
frame.
never
You can
coming
do that.
off.
Never coming off.
It's part of the bike, but no.
Mold
yeah,
it.
yeah. That's our only drawback. Like most of the stuff I've done to my motorcycle is just like bolt-on stuff because it's like easy to do.
Just don't
and
touch it.
that's-
Leave it how it is.
I'm pretty
It's
happy
so
with
good.
the way it was. I think we were talking when you first walked up. I saw you momentarily at the Smoky Mountain Chopper Fest.
We need to
in
talk
North
about
Carolina.
Yeah.
That was what we're like 3 or 4 weeks.
2 weeks
removed
ago,
from
right?
that.
Was it 2 weeks ago?
I think it was like 2 weeks ago.
It was
It was a little
Memorial
further
Day.
back. Maybe 3 weeks ago.
Memorial Day weekend. Wasn't
Yeah,
it? Yeah.
something like that. What day is it?
Whatever.
It's
Doesn't matter.
But I just came
middle of
up
the month,
for the
yeah.
Friday and rode up Friday, and then I had to come back Saturday. I kind of knew I'd only be able to stay the one night, but
You dodged the rain.
I dodged the rain. Yeah, I didn't get rained on any. So I was curious for a lot of the dudes that stayed. You know, looking on social media and stuff, they were posting pictures of the rainbow and all that. A lot of dudes Saturday morning were like, "Man, there's this massive wall storm coming in," and I was curious, did you guys get rained on at all?
We definitely got rained on. Luckily, I didn't have any service, so I couldn't really check my phone.
So you were stressing it.
I was like, I didn't want to get wet because everyone else was like, oh my God, it's going to rain. But there was a big wall of tarps in the back over by the creek. And I just went up to Billy. I was like, hey, I'm going to take 2 of these. Like, do it, man. And just threw 2 of them over my tent and just was like, all right, we're good.
Easy.
See, I was stressing we kind of talked about it a little bit, but getting in, for anybody who hasn't been or is thinking about going, there's a pretty gnarly little hill to get down to this. I guess
Gnarly
it's like-
little hill.
It's
how
like
you put it.
private farmland where they do the Smoky Mountain Chopper Fest each year.
Yeah.
And some dudes that I had met right before coming in, like the last hour, I pretty much rode solo, and then I met some guys. You know Chip? I think his name's Chip.
Yeah. Uncle Chip.
Uncle Chip, that's what he
Yeah.
introduced himself as, yeah. So I just randomly stopped at a gas station, and he was there, and they're on chopped out bikes and stuff. And he was like, you on Chopper Fest? I was like, yeah. And then once I told him I was from Birmingham, he was like, oh, yeah, just ride with us. You know, I know a lot of those dudes. And he was like, when we first get in, there's a little bit of a hill, but don't sweat it. It's not that bad. And it wasn't bad, but I can imagine it's a lot worse in the rain. And so I think that's what had me
If you
nervous.
describe it how it actually is, it would be very intimidating. It's a complete 180 that goes down a gravel mud hill. It's pretty much what it
Off
is.
of asphalt, you take a left, and there's like a sharp hairpin turn.
Take a sharp left over a big hump, go
Big
on
hump,
to,
yeah.
big hump, go onto gravel, dirt, go down that gravel dirt about 20 yards, and then do a complete 180, go down that gravel dirt hill, and then you're there. You're in the event.
And then everybody's watching you, like, oh man, these rolling in, let's see if they fall.
when we rolled in, there was just dudes up there posted with cameras. I think they just wanted to, get some good footage of people coming in, but I know they were there to watch people go down.
Yeah.
They got bets going. Play some bets.
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
he's going down.
So Friday, the weather was great, and then like I said, Saturday about noon, that's when I had to roll out, and I was curious what Saturday or Sunday morning. Did you guys stay for the whole?
Oh yeah, woke up Sunday, Saturday, got a little bit of rain like during the event. That's where like the rainbow and stuff came in. So it was just
Okay.
more of a steady mist the whole day. It never really poured down.
Okay.
But yeah, when I
It
woke
looked
up,
gnarly, man, on the radar, but I guess maybe it just went around or something.
well, yeah, like I said, I put tarps over my tent and just fell asleep. And then whenever I woke up, I was hearing the creek flowing. I thought that was the rain. I was like, oh God, this is gonna suck. Ride back 8 hours in this crap.
Yeah, man.
And it was just the creek. I poked my head out and the sun was out. I was like, oh, good.
Okay, right, awesome, man. Well, I'm glad you guys had fun on the
Oh yeah, it was
trip and
awesome.
stuff. I know there was like a
Always
bunch
a fun
of the Haynes
event.
dudes there and stuff, and so it was cool to kind of get a taste.
Billy
of
and
it.
George put on an awesome event.
I think I met Billy. Was he the one with the beard?
He follows up everything he says with "come on."
Come on.
That's
That was probably him. I think he randomly came over. You meet a lot of people at events
yeah.
like that and stuff, and he walked over. And I
thick,
was like,
thick accent.
yeah, I was
Southern
like, are you
accent.
the one that put this on? And he's like, yeah, man, that's me.
You're the
And I
guy.
was like, wow, man, thank you so much. There was another guy with like a really long beard that was selling merch. So I don't know if that was him.
Yeah, I think that was George.
George. Okay. Well, shout out to Billy and George. Thank you for all the work you guys do. To put on the Smoky Mountain Chopper Fest in North Carolina is pretty cool.
Oh,
But yeah, man, let's take it back. It's kind of the first time getting to sit down. I met you at the campfire, but maybe that was a little blurred lines there,
yeah. It depends on what time of night it was. I
Yeah,
guess.
it was a little late, But good
I mean, we
times.
got in late anyway. We got in like 8, so I never really got drunk the first night. It was just like
Did you guys roll in on Thursday or Friday?
Friday. We got there.
cool.
Yeah, we got there late Friday because a couple of us had some issues going up, but
Yeah, I heard Bowles had some issues with
It was
his
Oh,
bike.
a
man.
simple fuel delivery issue. They got back, fixed it, no sweat. But just on the way there, it made us lose a little bit of time. We got there kind of late, and then we got caught in the rain, and then waited that out. But yeah, just with the combination, took a minute to get there.
Well, yeah, well, talking that evening, that kind of put you on my radar and stuff, and I was like, man, I want to check. And I knew you had this company going. What am I hearing? Is that my dog?
I
Nope.
think it was a chair.
Okay, I
You're
didn't know if my
hearing
dog
things,
was
brother.
behind me. My
Katie
dog's
took,
running around down here somewhere.
Katie took her upstairs.
I follow this dude called like Chicken Fried Choppers. He does all this cool stuff.
Oh yeah,
and,
Rick.
And I came across your company. It was one of the cool videos. Shout out to the dude that does all your videos, all your little tutorial videos. I guess if you buy a wiring harness kit.
Yeah, there's our buddy D-Law does some of them. Turner does a bunch of them. So
Okay.
between the two of them, they've done quite a few of the videos.
Well, it's a rad. I don't know a ton about it, but I understand that you're building these wiring harnesses that I guess simplify the wiring process for somebody who's maybe chopping out a Sportster or a Big Twin or something.
Yeah, yeah.
To take it back, how did you get into motorcycles to begin with?
It's something I've always kind of been in when I was a kid. Had like mini bikes and stuff like that growing up, and then just after that, just kind of went into skateboarding. From skateboarding, kind of got off the motorcycle game and just like did skateboarding, and then all of a sudden, all of our friends started getting into motorcycles. They'd get a lot of people's first bike is a Sportster. And
Sportster's very popular, like I've learned. Like kind of being introduced to this culture, I'm like, dude, there's Sportsters everywhere. I guess it's just an easy bike to.
It's the working man's bike, and it's
Yeah.
easy to make a chopper, and they're bulletproof. They'll go forever.
Yeah, especially are all Sportsters Evos? Or,
No.
there's older
Evo
like,
Sportster.
Ironhead Sportsters and stuff.
Yeah, they started making the Evo Sportster in 1986.
Okay. Well, further back than I thought. I thought it was like a 90s thing. Shows what I know. So.
Well, in 1986 to 1990 is kind of the transition year, so they had some kinks to work out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So you get into bikes. I guess you transition from skateboarding and start riding. What was your first bike? Was it a Sportster?
It was a Sportster. Absolutely.
Okay, why did I even ask that question?
It's like I said, it's the working man's bike. It's easy to find, very affordable, very easy to work on, and just easy to make a chopper out of. Lots of parts out there readily available for it. Not really back when we first started. They were starting to, if you wanted a specialty part for it, you had to make it yourself. But then, companies started like, oh, people are making choppers out of these Sportsters, and, not just Sportsters, but a lot of other stuff too. And they wanted to start making parts that you could just buy and bolt on.
Yeah. Well, it's easy to do, I guess.
Oh, absolutely.
Somebody like me who doesn't have any welding experience or anything like that, but wants to have a rad bike, you can just buy a hardtail kit and just kind of bolt it on, and then obviously do some welding. But I know companies like Lowbrow and TC Bros and stuff, they're trying to, I don't know if and I asked Nick this, when we had the conversation with him, if just the popularity, in your opinion, has the popularity for like bikes or choppers grown in the past few years, or is this just?
It's ever growing. There's always a new generation of dudes ready to get into choppers. It's just like we did.
Yeah.
And you can't really do too much with these newer bikes.
Just because of the complexity of
They're very complex.
Really?
Lots of wires. A lot of them are EFI, fuel injection.
Yeah.
So
no carb and
yeah, no carburetor. Like it's easier to customize a bike, pre 2004. Because like even with Sportsters, 2004 through 2006, that's like the last year they did carbureted bikes. And they started to transition into the fuel injection.
So why just more power to the engine? I mean, again,
man,
Fuel,
there's
fuel
efficiency,
emissions.
emissions. Yeah. That's a good one.
Now they have data links. Bring them to Harley. We'll work on them.
Don't work on your own bike anymore. Just take it to the dealership. And let
I
them
think
fix it.
that's those years is when that kind of like fell off. Like everyone just kind of like, oh, now I have to bring it to Harley. But I mean, you could still work on stuff like that. There's still plenty of bolt-on stuff you can get. You can customize it. It's just a little more difficult.
Yeah. Well, it's cool. You mentioned Loaf earlier, and we've had him on the podcast. And shout out to Sanctuary Cycles here in Birmingham. And he kind of has a cutoff of like, hey, once you get into the fuel injection stuff, that's when I quit working on bikes.
Yeah.
That's
But it's kind of like a cool niche because he even said that like the Harley dudes have kind of discovered him, and the older bikes they don't want to work on, and the newer bikes he doesn't want to work on, and so they kind of send the
You're kind of stuck.
send the stuff to him that so it's kind of cool partnership. I guess I don't know if that makes.
Oh,
any
that's
sense.
why he'll always have business come in. Is Harley just doesn't want to touch it. They don't want to mess with it.
Are they losing cool points for that? I mean, is that like? Do you like the direction Harley's going? That's a big question. I know. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and the dude was just ragging on like you walk into a Harley store and just like the apparel and the style and everything that they kind of cater to. You know, the Daytona Beach crowd. You know what I mean? Like he's just like, dude, they just don't get it. You know, I feel like they've gotten away from their roots a little bit. I don't know. I'm paraphrasing, but that's another conversation. So, but going back to you, man. So you got your first Sportster and started, I guess, wrenching on bikes and stuff.
Yeah, that was right around when we got the first dojo. I mean, for anyone that's listened to the dojo podcast, it's basically a one-car garage that about somewhere between 8 and 10 of us shared. And
Right there on 4th
I
Avenue.
was going to ask
yeah,
which
yeah,
one.
Fourth
that-
South.
Okay, yeah, I'm familiar. All right, the shop.
That was by the shop, right?
Right behind it, yeah. So I was familiar.
The dojo.
The dojo, yeah, it was on.
Oh
my
yeah,
radar, for sure.
little tiny building. A buddy of ours put some lights in there so we can actually see what we're doing. Before that, it was just like 2 light bulbs. But
Cool place to start, like wrenching on bikes.
it was a
and
good
stuff,
place because
yeah.
before that we were we're doing it in the parking lot in front of our buddy's townhouse or the living room of our 1-bedroom apartment. So
Really?
yeah,
Just rolling bikes into the living
I
room?
bought a basket case, which is basically just an engine. It's an entire bike taken apart and it's in crates. So I took that into the living room of my 1-bedroom duplex I lived in, and I got fucking oil everywhere.
Damn.
Hope it didn't have carpet. You ruined
Oh
the
no,
carpet.
it was hardwood. But,
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm sure it went through to the basement. Whatever was in the basement, I don't know what was in the basement. But
Well, you're on the first floor, so it's not.
there's oil in the basement now, so
Yeah.
I know that.
That's cool. Well, let's fast forward, man. You guys, I mean, we've told that story about how the kind of dojo got started and all that, but Gremlin Wiring, you do wiring harnesses. For someone like me who doesn't know much about exactly what you do, or anybody out there listening who's not familiar with your company, what do you do?
Basically, it's just an easier way to dumb down wiring. It's stock bikes, even if you're building a chopper, stock ones, they come with a ton of wires.
Really?
Yeah, they got hundreds, probably hundreds, I'd say hundreds. And they're going up, down, back, forth. There's going to relays, sensors, all kinds of stuff. And
But you don't need all that crap.
Well, if you only want it to have chopper applications,
Okay.
chopper applications.
Right.
If you want it to just have what the bike needs to run, ride, and have lights, and not to mention, different states have different laws, but in Alabama, we don't require blinkers. You can use your hand signals. But yeah, that's what it is. It comes with everything you need to plug in the harness. Like remove your old harness, plug this harness in, and then that's it. So
It just eliminates, I guess, if you're building something from scratch, you just have a frame or a roller and you're putting an engine in, or maybe you got a full blown, new bike or a bike you bought off Craigslist.
If you're
About to
chopping
date
it
myself.
up and you're taking all that shit off anyway,
Yeah.
get rid of it. Go to Gremlin Wiring, buy a new harness, done. You're done.
Yeah, because I guess it would just simplify. I mean, like most of the customers that come to Gremlin Wiring, what are they? Are they having problems trying to ohm out their own wiring kits, or just like?
well,
Is it just
I don't
a
really
cleaner
know.
look, or what is it that?
It's a way to, like I said, dumb down the wiring. And a lot of these Sportsters out there, they've been bought second, third, fourth hand, so they've
Don't tell 'em what
been
they've
through
done.
they've been
Yeah.
through it, and the wire is probably already chopped up anyway. I mean, even the ones that aren't, completely pull a untouched stock harness and just put this much smaller 11 wire harness in it.
Okay, so you can completely rip the guts out of a stock bike and put your harness in it.
For the most part, you don't just like unplug it and be like, all right, there it is. You have to get to a couple of the wires because it's part of the charging system.
Sure.
And
yeah.
you got to keep the charging system, otherwise the bike will just shut off eventually. got to charge the battery. But other than that, yeah, it's completely plug and play. It's finding the stuff to make it that way was very difficult.
Yeah, man. Like, how did you get into doing this? It seems like it's a niche part of like motorcycle building that I think most people would be like, no, I don't want to do that. Like,
Because he's over there tearing apart his Sportster, and he's like, this fucking sucks. There's got to be a better way.
Did you have come to you like, dude, I don't know, man. My lights don't work. What the hell?
That's kind of how it started. That's like I said at the original dojo was I did it to my bike, and it was a 1992 883 Sportster, I believe. And it wasn't a wiring harness. It was just me gutting the stock wiring and making it work. So I had no handlebar controls, and it just looked like a chopper.
Yeah,
chopper. It was still a stock swing arm bike, but everyone saw that and be like, "Oh man, the bars don't have handlebar controls. That looks more like a chopper." They want me to do it to their bike, and I'd give them a list of stuff to get. And I wasn't even charging at the time. I was like getting paid with beer. Like get this stuff.
Just make it look cool, man.
Yeah. Get this stuff, bring me a 12-pack, I'll take care of it. And I'd spend the night just, all right, they don't need this, they don't need this. It was not really like a formula to it. It was just like hacking up their stock wiring until I could make it work.
But you just kind of taught yourself how to do that?
Pretty much, yeah. It was just...
Don't cut the orange wire. I've learned that that's very vitally important.
Yeah, orange is probably the tell. Like, they're going to need that. Let's see, this is ignition system, this is this, this is this, this is this. Like, and it was just, it still had all the relays, sensors, and all that stuff. I was just bypassing the handlebar controls pretty much.
Yeah.
At first.
Okay. At what point did you decide, like, maybe I could start charging for this, or maybe enough people are coming to me where it's like, okay, look, beer's not enough. I need to, or even get to the state where you are now, and I don't want to get too far ahead, where you're like, you got these expertly, anybody that's like, I'll throw a link up and surf your website. It's like these really cool kits, man, with all the parts and pieces. Makes it really easy on the end user who's buying your kits to plug in. Plus, you've got the support videos that you do on how to plug it in. And I watched one of them, and it was just like, oh, cut this, do this, you know. Seems like, you know,
it was probably one of the older ones we threw together. It was just kind of like people were really wanting a video. Be like, can you do a how-to video? And we slapped this one together, and it's basically slapped together and voiceover, like, do this, now do this. Like, better pause it, because you're going to keep going back.
Yeah. I think that's so rad, though, that you've kind of turned it into this. You said you've been doing it for about 4 years now?
Yeah, it'll be 4 years, I think the 28th of this month.
Okay. And you recently, correct me if I'm wrong, did you recently rebrand? As you weren't always Gremlin Wiring?
Yeah, it was, so when I started doing it, like this was back in 2019, and I'd recently resigned from my previous job and just needed a break from it. I was probably going to end up going back to it, but it was just like, all right, I need to take a breather, and I was just going to work whatever odd jobs. Resigned from my previous job. I was a paramedic for about 13 years.
Whoa, dude, what? Are you serious?
Oh, yeah. It was, so 13 years as a paramedic, spent 5 of them at Birmingham Fire and Rescue. Just needed a break.
That is intense, brother. I was thinking you did some, like, odd machining job or something. Sorry, I don't know.
No,
I thought that, but what's it like being a paramedic for 13 years? I don't know. I've got a lot of family members.
I think at about 13, you need a break. And like,
I've got a lot of family members that are firefighters and stuff and certified paramedics. And some of the stories they would tell me, you know, like some of the calls they would get. I'm just like, bro, how do you do this, man? That's an intense job.
It can be a lot. I mean, it's just, there's a whole bunch of reasons to why I just needed a break from it. You know, it wasn't just like, you know, the job itself or where I was working. It was just like my head mentally just needed to get my head back on straight. So it was more of a do something else for a little while, but the plan was always to go back.
Clear my head, man.
Yeah, just get my head back on straight. I was losing sleep. I wasn't like, you know, just needed a break from it.
Go hang some sheetrock, you know.
Well, I mean, that was the thing.
Mow lawns, whatever.
The job I had lined up, I was doing a cable lineman work.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Putting cable equipment on telephone poles. And I was like, all right, well, I'll just go do this.
I mean, that can be pretty gnarly also.
Yeah. Well, we had a bucket truck for a lot of it, but you got to use ladders. And if you can't get to a ladder, you got to use hooks and you got to hook up the pole. But
Lineman work? Ooh, no, sir.
Yeah,
Well,
it's-
just working outside all the time, you're kind of exposed to the elements. I'm sure there's parts of the year
Or
where it's
the
like, this is
electric-
great.
the-
Oh man,
That's-
I'm not in a cubicle. I'm out here breathing the fresh air. This is awesome.
oh yeah, I'm outside. I'm not sitting at the ER waiting on a workroom or anything like that. Like, oh, this is great.
But then it's like July 4th and you're climbing a telephone pole because somebody's cable's out or something.
Well,
Like,
of course,
okay,
that's when I did it. That's
Yeah.
like it's. I think I resigned in April of 2019, in March or April, and yeah, that's
prime for summer, bro.
yeah,
Let's get outside and
ready for the spring and summer months. And then, but yeah, that fell through, and just like if you've ever worked contracting, like eventually the work's gonna dry up or something like that. But anyway, I had some money saved up from whenever I worked at the fire department, so I was like, all right, I'll be good for a little while. I guess I ain't ready to get back on the ambulance just yet. So was sitting at the dojo one night, and my wife actually has one of my first bikes now, and I was looking at it because it's one of the bikes that I wired, one of the first ones that I wired, and was looking at it. I was like, God, this thing looks awful. I need to rewire this thing.
you're critiquing your own work.
Yeah. Oh God, I do it all the time. And was looking at it and was like, this thing looks terrible. Like, what would I need to just make a new harness? Just make a completely different harness other than this, because I gutted it. It was awful. There's wires everywhere. And we just started looking into it. I started looking, underneath the bike and started making a list. And went home and had a couple drinks and just started jotting stuff down. And I wish I had the notebook with me. I can show it to you. It's just, I woke up and saw what I wrote. It's just scribble. It is just, because my wife was just like, all right, I'm just going to give him some room to work. And just woke up and like, this is what I'd had drawn out. And it was the first design of the first Sportster treatment. That was the original name. It was a Sportster treatment wiring kit. So whenever I woke up the next day, I was still in that mode, and just texted Nick. I was like, what would it take? I just need a logo for a plug and play wiring harness kit. And he sent me, like 45 minutes later, he sent me 2 color patterns, and it was the Sportster treatment wiring kit. I was like, oh yeah, this is perfect. So all black, and then there was the 2 reds and the yellow lightning bolts.
Awesome.
But it was perfect for what I needed it for. It was exactly what I needed. Started putting it together, had to figure out the packaging, had to figure out where to get all these connectors, and I had no idea where to get this stuff.
What's the prototype? Building that first prototype, where did you get the parts to do it?
I just started like looking on the internet, just seeing where I can find it. I don't know part numbers. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
I know how to wire stuff, but I'm trying to make this functional product that you can give to somebody with zero to, minimal wiring knowledge and expect them to put it in their bike.
Mm-hmm. So did you build that? You just go to the hardware store, order stuff off Amazon?
You're at Lowe's looking at different gauge wire.
It was the prototype was a mix. It was some stuff off Amazon. Some of it was from Napa. Some of it was from Advanced Auto Parts. A lot of auto parts store stuff. And then I found the main connector that I needed for the ignition system. I just found at a random site. I was like, just started looking at images, clicked on the image, like that looks like it. Mm-hmm. Didn't realize at the time, like the connector comes with multiple parts. You need the terminals inside the connector. You need the wedge lock to lock them in place. And like, I didn't know that. I got the connector and just started pressing terminals into it. And I was like, that ain't gonna work. But then like figured it out, and then just came up with the first prototype.
Where did that prototype go?
It's actually still sitting at the shop.
Okay.
I had it on my wife's bike for a long, long time, and it ran fine. I just eventually took it off and put a different one on because I was making a prototype for a different kit.
Yeah, there you go.
And then I was like, all right, well, I'll just roll this one up and stick it here. So it's just been stored at the shop.
So the different kits that you offer, if you could break it down in layman's terms, what do you offer currently, and what are the different options that come with those kits? We're getting real deep. I hope anybody that listening is into this, because I think it's super interesting. Definitely, at least from like a business perspective. Someone like yourself, kind of taking on this.
Yeah, it's
this niche project. Doing it, but
I think one of the most challenging parts was figuring that out.
Okay.
Like you can go into it and carbureted Sportsters 1986 through 2006. And now you got to figure out what the difference is between each one of those years. And from 1986 to 1990, they have a different ignition system than 1998 to then in 2004, different ignition then. But so the main different kits you have 86 through 90, 91 through 93, 94 through 96, 97, 98, 99 through 2003, 2004 through 2006, and then we have aftermarket ignitions, and I also offer them in a standard kit and a deluxe kit.
Okay.
It's yeah, I know it's
So 97 to 98, they just did some weird shit, I guess.
90s. It was a transition.
Okay.
From 1986 to 1997, they did an external ignition control module that runs down to what was called a cam position sensor. In 1998, they made it all one unit. It's just like figuring that stuff out. Like it's boring stuff. But it's if you're gonna wire your bike, you got to know like that's why. Like,
does this give you the ability to move the ignition to different places on the bike or down lower on the bike? Just
no,
cleaner
like,
look. Or something?
like this is the ignition system. Okay. This is what like timing. This is what causes the gives you spark, makes the motor go.
Yeah, I told you my knowledge is limited when it comes to like mechanics. And
I put the key in, I turn it, and then I ride.
But it seemed like I saw some video where you're relocating where the key ignition goes. Maybe
the key switch. That's how you just turn the bike on, start it, and then turn it off.
Gotcha. Is it still an electric start on most of these kits, or is it like a kickstart? Or
I do make a kit for kick only bikes.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the ones you're going to see for like big twins.
Well, I saw that. I got on your site and I was like, well, I have a big twin. Like, I wonder what he sells for money. It's like you have a small kit for a kick only, which I don't have a kicker kit on mine.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's like, God, 5-6 wires. Mm-hmm. It's not much. It's
not much to it. Yeah.
And that's the thing is like you would think like why are you going to sell like 5 or 6 wires? Like I mean, like it's made into a harness. But
because it looks nice, man. It's so aesthetically pleasing.
It looks good, and also people just don't want to do it. Like a lot of people don't want to wire bikes.
That's the easy part. It's convenient. It's convenient. I'll pay for convenience.
Well, that's what a lot of people want. They want the convenience of it. They don't want to have to do it. I have a lot of people that come back that just like they've bought multiple kits. They use it multiple times. There's guys that build choppers. There's a guy at Ohio that Deathco choppers. Every bike he builds, he puts one on.
Wow.
Which is awesome. Thank you for the support, Dan.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. I've seen you're selling your kits on Lowbrow now. How did that partnership come about? And how's that what's that done for you said your business has been going for 4 years.
Yeah.
More or less. So have you seen an increase in demand in your
Oh, absolutely.
kits and
stuff? I haven't seen really any drop in the need for it. There seems to always be someone having a sports show that they want to, simplify their wiring, or they're going to make a chopper or whatever. But I started using them. Like I launched this in June 28th of 2019.
Okay.
And then, I had a big cartel site, and then I sold, I think like 10 or 11 to Nick, and he sold some through his big cartel site. And that kind of got it off.
Got the word out.
I got the word out, and people started finding out about it. And I think it's around the time that I started getting like international people, like people from different countries wanting to know if I could ship to like the UK, Canada, like all over the place, really.
Yeah.
Like, man, I need to like try to like reach a more target audience. Like I don't ship things. I don't really know about international shipping. I don't know what to tell them as far as how much it's going to cost.
If I wanted to ship this to Tokyo, what's it going to cost me? I have no idea. I've never even mailed a letter to Tokyo.
It's like $20 or something.
Yeah,
Maybe it's not that much.
It's not crazy. Well, I don't know. I don't know how heavy a wiring harness is, though.
It weighs like a pound.
Yeah,
it's not much.
Yeah,
but like I think the first one international like guy that inquired about it was somewhere in the UK, but it was some farm, and everyone I went to FedEx, UPS, and all like was like, where is this place? Like, I want to ship this thing to him. I want to give him a price, and they were giving like, oh, it'll be like $97. Well, like, damn, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
And then went to USPS, and they're like, oh yeah, it's like $35.
Okay.
The old
Like,
postal
oh.
service.
So learning how to deal with international shipping has been something you've learned
That
recently,
it's
I guess.
everything was a learning curve. Everything was transition. I'd never made a wiring harness before. Like that's the thing is like I know how to wire a bike, but I've never made it into a functional product that I'm going to send to someone and they'll be able to unroll it from the bag and figure out how to
And
route
figure
it.
out how to route it and put it in.
And yeah, exactly. Because the kits come with instruction booklets, but you can only get so much information from those, especially if you've never wired a bike.
So let's back up a
Is
little
that
bit.
it? Well, hold on. Is that what spawned the tutorial videos you were doing on YouTube?
Oh, absolutely. I do the tutorial videos, but I do customer support multiple times a day.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, man.
I'd imagine that's a huge part of it. It's just
Oh, it's not even with my
customer
kit.
service. Yeah.
It's
I
like,
just melted my front light. What do I do? Like, that's not
oh,
working.
you're not too far off.
You're close. Just burst into flames. What happened?
Got to
So-
feel safe for that, but
So at this point, are you still working under the old name, or had you already transitioned to the new name?
transitioned last March when we transitioned.
Is that when you moved into your shop?
Yeah. It was not too long after I moved into the new shop.
Okay. What brought on the new name?
Well, it was called the Sportster Treatment Wiring Kit, and I'm trying to transition out of just Sportsters.
Okay. And there she goes. Somebody here?
I have no idea. Volcano just erupted. Godzilla's attacking. My dog goes crazy. Or there's like a leaf that fell on our.
That's if a pine cone hits the
Sidewalk,
porch,
yeah,
my
man.
dog loses his shit.
On
She
it.
ruins. For anyone listening who's been listening to us for a while, thank you. My dog Lola likes to ruin podcasts. Yeah.
So
I don't even know where we were. I'm leaving all that in.
Oh yeah.
we you changed the name because you're trying to get out of just labeled under Sportster stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what was the motivation behind that change?
It was more just like for that reason exactly. I wanted to just not be labeled as only Sportsters. Like I still do Sportsters, and that's where most of my business comes from is just Sportsters. But I wanted to start making kits for other bikes other than just Sportsters, and I didn't want people like, oh, it's called the Sportster Treatment Wiring Kit.
Yeah.
But like, I need something for my big twin. I'd be like,
Sure.
Yeah.
oh, well, y'all make that?
That's
cool.
a good business move.
understandable,
It's a good business move.
But yeah, I mean, went back and forth and was just like thinking of like different names, and that was the one I kind of just locked in with.
It's good.
The URL was available. Just like, yeah, dude, nobody else
That's
is
it.
using
Gremlin
Gremlin
Wiring.
Wiring. That's cool. I dig it.
Oh, hey, I looked it up too. And I was making sure.
Yeah, but it's cool because it's like I think somewhere in the website bio or something, it's like chasing the gremlins in your kit because there's probably nothing more frustrating when you have like a wiring issue or you watch any of these YouTube videos, dudes on trips, and that's a lot of the issues that people have is like, oh, my starter quit working or my switch quit working or something. It's usually a simple fix due to old wiring or I don't know. I'm just
A lot of the stuff, like if you're just bikes just like randomly shutting off, you're getting stuck on the side of the road. 9 times out of 10, it's some kind of electrical gremlin. I mean, not to say that's the only reason your bike's
Sure,
gonna
yeah.
shut off and give you problems, but a lot of the times it's either something's grounding out, something's popping fuses, like a gremlin.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. I just can't I've never understood electrical ever, as far as like how it works. And it's probably, at least for me and maybe for a lot of people, is the most intimidating factor. It's like, well, I can understand like why this problem wouldn't work or this problem won't work. But when it comes to the electrical side, it's just like, whoa, hey, no. Need to,
Yeah, a lot of people don't want to mess
ask
with it.
Matt about that. I don't know what the hell's going on. Like, I keep popping fuses or something's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the people that especially when I first started out, like the reason I like got so stoked and like was like wanted to keep doing it is just some of these people, they had no idea how to do anything. And they don't
Yeah.
really have like
All these dumbasses don't know shit.
well, they got this motorcycle and they want to make it into a chopper, but they don't have like any kind of community. Like they're just probably working out in their apartment, parking lot,
Yeah.
and they don't have anyone they can really ask other
Bounce
than
out
jumping on
ideas
forums.
outside. Yeah, man, I get it totally, 100%.
But yeah, so it was just like I got sent a few videos of people like starting at their bike for the first time, like losing their shit, like, oh my god, it works. Like
That's cool.
That's got to be a good feeling.
That
man.
is awesome. Yeah. So at what point did you see the business really start to like pick up? Was there any
I want
like,
to say it was like it wasn't immediately,
mhm.
but it happened fast because
It's like all of a sudden it's like you wake up, you
You
got
kind
10
of
orders on your
you
phone.
kind of realize like, hey, I've got something here. I got something good going here.
I think it wasn't too long after Lowbrow started carrying them that I was just like, okay,
That would probably be a pipital moment. It's
well,
like one of the-
absolutely. Well, yeah, I mean,
one of the biggest names in like, home chopper building website starts carrying your product. That's pretty cool.
well, that was the whole reason to pitch to them is like they, everyone knows Lowbrows. Like,
Yeah.
if you're going to get a motorcycle product, then that's where you're going to go get it. There's plenty of other ones out there. But that's one of the bigger ones that a lot of people know. So of course that's the first one we pitched to, and it was just like okay, and send them just a few. Like all right, those sold. Send them a few more. Those sold, and got a job just while I was doing this and just was working at a cabinet shop at the time, and then got a purchase order from Lowbrow and was like, oh, well, I can't come
I
to
need
work
30
tomorrow.
harnesses.
I mean, it not too far off. Like it was
Yeah.
just like it wasn't a super big order considering how how big they are now. But like at the time, it was just like, oh my God, how am I going to make all these?
Yeah.
Where am I going
wow.
to get all the materials to make all these? And
How did you solve those problems?
4 years of looking on the internet, making phone calls, and telling people I need all of your shit.
I need it right now. I need
All of it.
tomorrow. All of it. Yeah. And so,
So is that you at a workbench just
It's-
grinding it out, buddy?
It is,
labor of love.
man. I have an Instagram account for Gremlin, but it is like, how do you give content to this? It is the most boring shit.
Okay.
That's what this podcast is for.
There we
Like,
go.
I want to like
Content.
I want to know the inside of what you do and all that, and just like it's cool, man. Like choppers are cool, obviously. I mean, that's why most people are into it. But I mean, having something that's plug and play, there's so much that goes into it that a lot of people probably take for granted. It's like, oh, this little wiring harness kit that kind of simplifies my wiring on my bike, and they don't have to think about it. You know what I mean? So it's just
That's
like,
one thing that I
follow the
like.
video, plug it in, done.
Yeah, that's one thing that I like to kind of do with like if my product's working correctly as it should, you will install it and you'll never think about it again.
Yeah.
And that's completely fine with me because like everyone else, they make products out there, and it's so people can see it. It's a good looking product, and I want to make a good looking product, but it's also a good looking in a way that you don't see it.
Yeah, because that's the thing about the wiring. Any part of a bike, the wiring is probably the least attractive part. There's nobody out there like, oh, check out my wiring. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, look at this kicker pedal I made out of bronze from my grandfather's war medals, or something like some shit
That's
like
the
that.
kind of stuff like
that's
that.
the kind
like,
of shit that like gets like all the attention. But it's like the wiring and stuff that's really the heart and soul of the motorcycle. But keep the battery charged, keep the light on. It's consistent, it's reliable. I don't think enough credit is given. It's really cool what you're doing. That's pretty rad.
Awesome, thanks, man.
So you said you guys pitched the idea to Lowbrow. I guess you guys just sent them some products.
Just
and they're just
it was
"Here
just
you
I
go, this is
emailed
cool."
them. Just emailed them.
Lowbrow.com. I have a wiring harness kit from
Dear
Birmingham, Alabama.
Lowbrow.
Dear Lowbrow,
all written
I
with a
think
quill.
you would like this product. I think your customers would dig this. Give it a shot. Here you go.
Kinda. It was. I tried to make it sound as professional as possible, and of course, I probably just sounded like a dweeb. But
Don't we all?
boy, yeah. But sent it and just kind of, all right, maybe I'll hear back from him, maybe I won't.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't too. I don't even think it was like maybe a week later. I heard back from him. I was like, yeah, we're down. We'll carry it. We ironed out the details and everything, and sent them one of each product. And it took a minute for those to sell because people were skeptical. They'd see it and be like, "What is this?" Like,
Right. You kind of got to wrap your head around like, what does this product do? It's not like a, air cleaner or something simple.
yeah, it's a very specific product. And when someone sees like complete wiring harness kit, 1999 through 2003, they're like, well, "What does that mean? Mine's a 98. Well, I want to work on mine." Like,
Right.
and they'll see there's one for a 98. They'll look at it, and there's a product description and everything. But other than that, it's just people are still skeptical at first.
Yeah.
And then people started using it. And then people were stoked on it, and they started leaving reviews, and then more people started using it. And then more people and so on and so forth. And word of mouth got around. Like, if you're wiring your Sportster, you can just go buy one of these kits. You don't have to do it yourself.
Yeah. Tear all the wires out, buy this kit done. You know?
For the most part.
For the most part,
little
I
more
guess.
to it than that, but like it's
Yeah, I'm oversimplifying.
yeah, it's fair. It's fairly it's simple enough. I walk through people through it all the time. Like I said, daily basis. I'm answering emails, DMs. I've done video chats through Instagram, and just to like, if people just can't really grasp the concept of it, I get a video chat. Be like, all right, show me what you got going.
Okay. So are you the one building, let's fast forward to the present day. I imagine things are going good for you guys, and not just I mean, we've talked a lot about lowbrow, but are you selling anywhere else? Like, obviously through your website that you guys have, but
There's not really any need. Like, I'm trying to keep things, like, get them out as fast as I can.
sure.
But between making them for lowbrow and making them on my website,
That's enough demand.
because it's just me. I'm the only one doing
That
it.
was my next question. You're the only one. Every harness that someone gets is coming through your hands.
Yeah, it's everything is I hand make. If it's part of the wiring, I hand make it. But now the key switches
brother.
and stuff like that, I outsource. I get that from somebody
Sure,
else.
yeah,
But
yeah.
anything that's part of the wiring, I make all of that.
Wow. I guess that keeps you pretty busy, I assume.
Very, very busy. That's why, like, whenever I first got the first big purchase order, I guess, big purchase order from lowbrow, I was like, well, I can't work.
All
I
right,
can't
I'm not
work
gonna
here
sleep
anymore.
for the next week and a half. You can relate to that with all your print
Yeah,
orders and
that
all that
is.
stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool, man. I mean, that's awesome that you've been able to grow this organically the way you have. You
Yeah.
know, and create
Yeah,
this
it
company.
was
And,
definitely not intended.
yeah,
It was one of those things like might sell a few, that'd be cool,
yeah,
but it was never intended to be like I'm going to do this for a living.
sure. But I guess it's gotten to that point now. I mean, this is your full time.
Yeah, this is what I do.
All
This
your
is-
attention goes into.
Yeah, this is. I mean, I'll do it
Wiring.
as long as I can,
Yeah.
as long as people let me do it, as long as people trust the name.
Well, going back to the website, like I said, for anybody that's interested, check out Gremlin Wiring. And I think you did a really good job, man. I was looking at some of the drawings and stuff you did for all the different kits that you guys offer. And I don't know who did the artwork, but I think it's pretty cool and color coded and everything. And you get
Are you
like
talking
a
about the
little
ones in all the
poster.
binders and stuff?
Yeah, man, I thought
yeah,
it was cool.
those are the early stage ones. Those are the
Early
ones
stage, okay.
I just hand draw them, like get them in my head.
But it has that cool, like, mom and pop feel, you know? Like, I thought that was really neat. And I think maybe I saw in one of your videos, you had some of them framed, like, in the background and stuff.
Yeah, those are the finished ones. Like all the ones you saw on the binder, those are the ones that I hand drew, and then I'll give the ones that I hand drew to my wife. She's a graphic designer as well, and just
So you're surrounded by artists. Between your
Yeah.
wife and I know Nick is a graphic designer and all that.
yeah, there's
No
like-
trouble in the graphic design department.
no, there's plenty to go around out there. But
awesome.
she did the Gremlin logo. She's done my wiring diagrams, so done great work out there. So good work, Darcy.
Right.
Shout out to her. Yeah, man, that's cool. So what's the future hold for you, and where do you see yourself going?
Honestly-
I mean, big. Obviously, that's a big cliche, stupid.
They're gonna sell
question.
my shit in Harley Davidson.
Yeah, they would get out of here. But no, I'd like to expand more. It's been one of those things that I've always wanted. I keep wanting to expand. I keep wanting to make more new products.
Yeah.
It's just more about when I have
Now,
time
have
to
you
do
been a
it.
victim? I know, during the pandemic and stuff.
Oh,
and
God.
that affected everybody. Like getting, like shipping delays and just getting product was like really tough.
Yeah,
How did that affect your
the two dreaded words, the supply chain.
supply chain?
Ooh,
Yes,
God.
thank you. I think every industry in this country has felt it to some degree. No matter if you're in food service or if you're in manufacturing, it doesn't matter. It's just across the board.
Yeah, that was a big one. That was
Yeah.
was able to come through on the other side, but
I'm sure
Like, I
there's a lot
started
of
in-
demand. It's like, well, I hope you can wait 3 months. And
well, I started in 2019, And, June 28th.
Perfect time.
There was something else
That's the
really,
best time
really
to launch a
big
company.
coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's, just before shutdown happened. And during 2020, it wasn't the bad part. That, like, I could still get my hands on stuff and shipping and all that. And actually, I think it probably helped the business a lot too, because a lot of people were stuck at home.
Sure.
It's like, well, what am I going to do? I'm stuck at
Till
home.
On a
bike,
bike.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting all this unemployment money. Like, I'm going to buy this wiring kit and I'm going to put it on my Sportster. I'm like, all right, cool, do it.
People got really into hobbies. I
Yes.
feel like,
Absolutely.
like skateboard sales shot through the roof. We talked to Peter about that like a year ago, and pretty much anybody who's in like hobbies, at least in that genre of sales, it's like, oh, dude, more people are riding bikes, more people are getting on skateboards, motorcycles, you name it. Tennis, I guess anything.
Yeah,
Shit out there.
2020, I spent in my basement making these things.
Making harness kits.
Yeah.
That's how dedicated you were.
It's just wake up, coffee, go to the basement, and start making wiring harnesses.
So what does a typical order for you today, if I'm so bold as to ask, look like?
They fluctuate. It's just lowbrow buys them as they need them.
Okay.
Every now and again, they'll just run out of them all at the same time, and I'll just get a big order.
So does Lowbrow keep like a backlog of like kits to sell, or they just do it like, hey, we had 10 people today ordered a Gremlin wiring kit. We need 10 orders given to us by this time so that we can ship to them by this time. I mean, how does that work?
It's just, it depends on how much, like, a lot of the products you can see, like, this many left. Like, hurry up, there's only this many left.
Right. I always thought that was like a sales gimmick. It's like,
I think it's like, once it gets below 10, you can see how many are left.
okay.
But, yeah, once they start running low, I'll get another purchase order. Once they run out, I'll get another purchase order. And sometimes it'll be small, sometimes it'll be big. And then, of course, the website, they'll continuously come in through the website.
So you could have a week where you get like 100 all at once. You just,
It's
damn.
happened before.
golly, man, that's all on you, brother. That's so cool that you're able to like, I don't know. Hopefully you're able to keep your sanity doing it.
I mean,
You know what I mean?
that's the thing is like, I love doing it. Like, it's so like, it's repetitive. You do it over and over again, but it's something that I created. It's something that I came up with, and I was just like, I hold it to a certain standard, so I want all of them to look just as good as the last one I did,
Yeah,
if not better.
sure. Well, that's cool, man.
Where's your shop at?
Irondale.
Okay.
Actually, me and the guy that shot the couple of the videos, Turner, we share that shop together.
Okay.
Now, what does Turner do? Is he just wrenching on stuff, or?
Man, jack of all trades, that one.
Okay.
A lot of woodwork, audio visual.
I didn't know if he had his own like business going out of your same shop or whatever you guys are doing.
I think that he's kind of all over the place.
Okay, but you just needed a place, I guess, separate from. I would imagine. I see the dojo and I see all the space there and all the bikes and stuff. I imagine having your own place where you can work on products and do stuff at your own
absolutely.
timing. That works pretty well. I know he's been constantly in the market for like having like a shop space to.
I
do
just need
some
a
of the stuff he
building. I
does,
need
yeah.
another building.
That's
And they're hard to find.
Well, yeah. I mean, God, commercial real estate. It's ridiculous
insane.
too, because you don't just commercial real estate. You get commercial power.
Yes.
That's expensive. And
Tell
then
me about it.
oh my God.
We're over on Sixth Avenue right now, but I need a spot for our print shop. And like, I'll take a warehouse. I'll take any old warehouse. You can't just find any old
Few and far
warehouse.
between, man.
They're very hard to find.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's over kind of like Whistle Stop area.
Now, is that a part of like the big Flex complex with all the, it's like the big warehouses subdivided?
No, this is just a big warehouse.
Lucky dog. So you're like separate from everybody else.
Yeah, a buddy of ours, Joe, bought it, and then my buddy John hit me up. I was like, "Hey, Joe just bought this warehouse. If you're still looking for a spot," and then he got me in touch with Joe. And then it was like, me and buddy Ryan were looking for a spot to rent, and then Ryan was like, "All right, I got another buddy Turner. He wants to get on it." So 3 of us were renting it, and then Ryan backed out, and it was just me and Turner. So now it's just me and Turner and one other guy
Okay.
that rents the front part, but we don't really ever see him very often.
See, I need a guy like Joe who owns real estate, trying to rent.
That's it's cool. It's much easier if you can do that.
Yeah. We've been It's a long story. Won't get into it. But
It's
anyway,
I know
your
all
shop
about the
is
search.
rad.
I'm just like, I'm waiting. Like, that was the whole thing. I wasn't just going to jump into a shop. I was like, I'm going to wait for the right one, and then the right one found me.
That's awesome, man. Well, dude, that's cool to hear what you guys have going on, and to only touch on it. I know we've only scratched the surface of like what you do, and hopefully we didn't do too deep of a dive of anybody listening. But I think it's rad, man. Just that you've grown this company kind of organically, and kind of filling a void that you know. Are there any other people out there doing this type of work? You know?
I've seen a couple out there. I mean, before I started making them, I did a lot of research to make sure that somebody else wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
And I didn't come across really anyone. I mean, there's plenty of people out there making like custom wiring harnesses. I mean, you email them, tell them what you want. I'm
They'll
sure they
kind
have
of custom
websites
build
for it.
you, but you've actually
Yeah.
done the research to do like, hey, I've got some that kind of one size fits all for like multiple years. You know, mostly in Sportsters, but also in Big Twins and everything. That's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. It's just I think there's like one or two other people that are doing something similar, but it's not quite the same. There was some confusion at first. The name was similar. One of us had to change the name,
Okay.
but it wasn't me.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, did a deep dive on your Instagram. Saw where you'd moved into the new shop, and you were talking about business picking up and a bunch of new products coming out this year. And then I was watching some of the. You just released a video of changing out or talking about the different types of starters.
Yeah, the different
And
ignition
I'm
systems.
just
yeah.
watching it like, dude,
Dude,
this is.
I just nerd out on like people that do. I assume you're doing what you love for a living. You know
Oh, it's-
what
I mean, yeah, it's
Like,
I
awesome.
associate
Like,
it with
that's-
Chase McMaster, who's doing Chase Bays, who does
Yeah.
all the performance parts for like drift cars and stuff.
It's actually like I actually grew up skating with Chase. Like,
Chase is sick, and
oh,
he's
yeah,
such
shout
a
out McMaster.
he's such an inspiration in the not the type of work that I do, but the type of business I want to run and
Yeah.
what I aspire to do. Because to see his growth,
Well, it's so
inc-
cool and it's so
Yes.
organic and like he's doing like rad shit and it looks fun and it's hard work, but at the same time it's better than working for the man. And it's like, I don't know. I guess I kind of saw that when I discovered your company and what you were doing. And I was like, man, you're getting to work around bikes and you've created this thing which has got to feel good and it's kind of taken off in a way, or at least it looks like it's from an outsider perspective.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
it looks
it's-
like it's taken off and it's like, dude, what could be better than that? You know
oh,
what
it's
I mean?
awesome.
Like,
It's
dude,
great. It's like started going to events and actually getting recognized. Like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, you do this. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Like how sick would that be posted up somewhere with your banner hanging up and people are like, fuck yeah, dude, you saved my life with this project or that project or something like that. It's just
Oh yeah, we'll be at Fuel Cleveland at the end of July, and
yeah. You said you were out of
That's-
town, and for whatever reason, I thought maybe that was the Born Free thing. I know Nick was taking a lot of his like really close buddies to that, but I guess that's
yeah.
happening.
Everyone's like, I think they're leaving this weekend.
Yeah, so
I think.
it was a week premature. But when I messaged you, you were like, "I'm gonna be out of town." I was like, "Yeah, he's going to Born Free. That's why."
No,
I
we
was
just
a week
went to
off.
we went to the beach, the very very crowded
Crowded
beach.
beach,
Good
yeah.
God,
Man, well, I hope the vacation was fun.
it was still fun.
Cool. But yeah, man, you know, choppers are fun, or bikes are fun and stuff. I've always heard that once you make what you love doing into a profession, it kind of becomes not so fun anymore, and you just like check out.
you
It's
got to
like,
be careful. It's like it's a fine line of
fun
like
line
turning your hobby into your
into a job. Yeah.
Yes.
Have you felt any of that in the 4 years
It's-
you've been doing this?
I mean, there are times, like especially when I get on some technical support, and
You
I'm
said
just
you were
like,
taking a lot of support calls.
oh God, I do a lot of technical support, like via email, direct message, and they'll just send photos and just like it's and a lot of them aren't even people that use my kit. Like it's gotten out there and people just ask me random questions. Like, I'm trying to do this. This is my project, and they'll send me some photos, and I'll just be like, try doing this and try using this.
Have you ever been like stumped by somebody who's like trying to do something wacky?
What the hell did you do?
Kid, where you're like, whoa, bro, I didn't build it to do that. Like, what are you thinking?
It's yes. There's I think one of the first videos we made, like I'm sitting there, they're interviewing me, and I'm just like, yeah, I want to design a wiring harness so anyone could install it. And
That's a big promise.
that's a huge promise. That's a bold statement.
Anyone.
But no, it's some people, they can grasp it a little better than others.
I'm the type of person where a video helps. Like watching your video, whatever video it was, where you're installing a kit on a particular bike, and it looked like a stock bike, and you're cutting the stock wiring out. I was like, okay, I can follow that. More so than I would just like a paper instruction book or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 10-page instruction book, and you got to put each step into these 10 pages. And
So that's a lot to like just to kind of dumb it down. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but just to make it where it's like, okay, how can I simplify this to such a degree that most people could grasp it and get it? And
well, the pictures that we put in there, like it's a real visual. Like if they have a visual thing, people need, like, they want to know they actually did it correctly.
Yes, because the unknown, I've never done this before. I'm installing something that could potentially blow my bike up. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's an exaggeration, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to flip the switch or I'm going to turn the key.
You'll fry everything else down the line.
And the bike's going to melt, you know.
Well, I'm sure they get the same feeling I got whenever I first installed the prototype harness. They're like, oh, God, is this thing just going to go?
But then the elation, I guess, that's when it does work. It's like, holy fuck, yeah, I did right, you know?
Yeah, there's like...
My lights work.
Like the one girl from like Canada or whatever. Like I think she was like a receptionist or something. She had no knowledge of bikes, and sent me a video of her first cranking it up, and like she had the harness and she turned the key and was just like all flinching, was just like, and then turned it over and she just started losing her mind, like ah.
Yeah, dude, that's got to be a good feeling. You know?
That was awesome.
That's awesome. See your products in the wild, you know.
It's like, oh, I love seeing them. I like finally started going to events and just like seeing them out there and be like, ooh, that's one of my older ones. Like,
ooh, yeah, let me get yours.
Let me make you a new one.
Let me make you a new one. Let me get your email real quick. So some of the events, that's kind of a cool segue. I know your buddy Nick is going to Born Free. I don't know if you're going to make it out there this year, but
not going to make Born Free this year.
It's a little bit of a haul, man, all the way on the side of the country.
Yeah, over in California, got a lot going on right now.
I understand.
I got another event coming up in July.
Okay, what's that event that you're doing?
Fuel Cleveland.
Fuel Cleveland. Okay, I've heard of that.
I have not. What is that?
I imagine it's another bike show.
Pretty much another bike show. Just like, you know, there's multiple ones out there. You got Born Free, you got Mama Tried, and stuff like Giddy Up. Just another Fuel Cleveland. This one's up in Ohio.
Okay.
Okay.
I haven't heard of that one.
I've asked this question, and forgive my naivety. Naivety? How do you say that?
Dumbass.
Being naive.
Naivety.
Naivety.
Is that a word?
I've always read it, but I've never said it out loud. So,
that's all right.
Anyways, man,
nativity.
Cool.
We talking about Jesus over here?
I've always thought like man,
Jesus
there's such
stuff.
a cool scene here in the Southeast, but it seems like a lot of these events are like, I mean, North Carolina's not that far. It's 6 hours, you know, depending on which way you go. But dude, or maybe the Southern Throwdown. I think that's in Texas. You know, still.
There's a few. There's actually quite a few of them in Texas, but Texas is a big place. Probably has a huge shopper community too.
Yeah, man. And it's just like, man, are we going to see more events here in the Southeast? Maybe are there any big events in Georgia or in Alabama or in Mississippi, Tennessee?
Buddy, Dwayne and Bowles, they would put on. It's a swap meet. I mean, it's not a motorcycle show, but it's a swap meet.
Yes.
And
we talked about that with Nick when he came on, and I came to that swap meet, and I thought it was really cool. I didn't know shit about bikes. I still don't know shit about bikes. But man, good turnout. It seemed like there was people from all over. And I asked Nick this very question. I was like, well, when are we going to have the next swap meet? And he's like, yeah, we need to ask those dudes who put it on. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, apparently it's a lot to put it on.
I'm sure it is.
And yeah, from what I can imagine, I mean, really couldn't imagine. That's Dwayne and Bulls.
A lot of like organization and stuff that
A lot of stuff to organize.
you
The
know,
venue.
a lot of phone calls. Yeah, man, and just getting
know,
all that
like-
together, even for something as simple as a swap meet to make it a good turnout. and make
Oh,
it
yeah,
work.
absolutely.
Well, he said that people were coming from all over, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So I
there were
think there's a
people from all over the
hunger
place.
there for something maybe more centrally located. But you know, when we were talking about the Smoky Mountain Chopper Fest, we met some dudes from where are the Slice and Dice from? Philadelphia, and so they said they go to swap meets just about every other weekend. It's like a normal thing. Where here, you know, we have the vintage markets. They're all over the place. Everybody's selling vintage clothing.
Vintage markets.
It's just like
everywhere.
everywhere.
Nothing
But-
wrong with it, but
yeah,
they're
no,
everywhere.
nothing wrong with it. That's cool. I mean, you know, get some vintage clothes and stuff. But he said that up in Philly, he's like, yeah, we have swap meets all the time. Y'all don't have those? And I'm like, no, dude.
No, I can think of in Alabama. I can think of 2.
Yeah.
That's it.
So
And I don't know
how
when the
cool
next
would that
one
be?
is.
I just feel like there's enough, you know, my naivety. There's enough of a scene here, enough people that are plugged into this kind of culture, or this hobby, or whatever you want to call it, that we could have like
The heavy
swap
ultra
meets and
chopper fest.
something, you know, just where you don't have to go to Ohio or Texas or California.
The same thing. They'll all be coming here.
We need to cross that bridge, brother. Yeah.
And I think it's more about like a lot of people you can put on a swap meet, but it's about how many people you can get there. Because you need other people bringing parts.
Bringing parts, yeah. And these parts are hard to find. And, you know, you want it to be a good swap meet that people are like willing to travel to or go to. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. I don't know where I'm going with this.
We have the Barber's Vintage Market, and
Yeah.
that
What are your thoughts on that? You've been a part of that, but I feel like it's more
I
like
wasn't a part of it. I've just been to it.
been to it. Well, yeah, I guess that's what I mean. Like, I know that some of the local dudes have shown up there and just like thrown out parts on a tarp and try to sell stuff. And stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's generally like a few people there that are selling like vintage motorcycle parts, but then you got people just randomly selling like tools and ratchet straps and just random
Oh, really?
knickknacks and like stuff like that.
I mean, having like that's a cool, you know, thing. Having such a rad, you know, motorsports park, whatever you want to call it, Barber, right here in our, you know, in Leeds, Birmingham, wherever it is. Technically,
I think that's Hoover actually.
is it really?
Is it Hoover? There's always a Hoover cop
It's such
out there.
it's so weird. You get off like Bucky's is Leeds, right? That's Leeds.
It's got
That's Leeds.
That's Leeds.
Yeah.
But Barber is like you cross some city line going.
You
into
cross the
Barber.
Cahaba, which was the big uproar when they built Barber.
So I think it's in Birmingham.
So it's right there before you go to the exit. There's always a Hoover cop posted up right there.
So Hoover fits in. I don't know. But having something like a cool racetrack like that is pretty neat. But I don't know how much it like affects like this community. You know what I mean? Or how much like it's cool when they have the vintage day, weekend, or whatever they do. They do it every year. It's like the vintage, and they actually have people out there racing vintage bikes. And
Oh yeah, yeah. They'll do
It's
the
cool.
races. It's a cool attraction, but a lot of people end up coming to town. They end up going to like the dojo party.
yeah,
I was like, because early on in Barbers, you could just party there.
I guess they
But-
don't allow that anymore.
No, not really. You can't even like what's underneath party. Like you can't even
Rage.
You can groove.
yeah
You can chill,
perfect. You
sort of.
can't even groove there.
Damn.
Is that when I mean, I know the dojo, they throw a party every year. Is that usually line up with the vintage thing going on? at
Yeah,
Barber?
it's during Barber's weekend.
Okay, cool. We probably already talked about that, and I just forgot it because
Well, we've talked about dojo parties, but I never remembered the timeline.
Yeah, I mean that's generally when it is.
Okay.
I look forward to the next dojo swap meet and whenever that may be.
Yeah, I hope joining Bulls get
I'm not
back
trying
together.
to put them on blast at all, but you know, that would be
Yeah,
cool.
come on,
Yeah.
maybe in the city. Let's go.
Well, dude, I wish you all the best going forward with your company and everything that you're doing. And yeah, man, I feel like just like surfing your website and stuff, I've learned a lot about like wiring in general and watching your videos and stuff. And I'm sure there'll be more to come. And I'm sure you're as busy as anyone can be with a startup company. Do I dare call it a startup? You know, you're
It's-
4 years in, but it's like blossoming. You know what I mean?
It's one of those things. Like it's just it grew into what it is, and then I've just kind of really been holding on ever since. Just
Yeah. Do you think that at any point it'll? I mean, do you have like maybe a sidekick or somebody you could bring in to kind of relieve the load a little bit? I mean, it just
I've
sounds
brought
like it's just
people
you
in
doing
before. I've had a couple friends help out here and there, but as far as just going, like I just like doing it myself.
this. Sure.
It's just
I
like
think he can. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
it's you're not going into the good help is hard to find kind of
right.
spiel, but yeah, it's I trust me. Like
that you're so right.
Like being able to trust
So-
somebody to like deliver the quality, I guess. that
it would take some training. Like I had to teach myself how to do it. So now I taught myself how to do it. Now I have to teach someone else something that I taught myself how to do.
Yeah.
I get it.
And yeah, I mean, even bringing someone in with wiring knowledge, and I just feel like it would just be like,
Yeah.
no, you need to do it like this. Be like, no, we're doing it like this.
But you're still able to meet demand, I guess, just flying solo, at least
Oh
to
yeah,
a degree.
it's, to a degree. I mean, it's on the website now that it's in big red letters. Orders are made in the
Made to order, yeah.
made to order. Please allow time to be made and shipped.
Yeah.
And I don't. That was another thing that my wife helped with, so she put that on the website. I don't
Well,
remember
that's
the
good,
exact
man.
wording.
Yeah,
but-
well, I read that in it too, and I just I mean, seeing that immediately told me it's like this dude is busy. Like he's got a lot going on, and it sounds like it's a small, kind of homegrown project.
I think that's what it is too. It's not some factory pumping these out.
and maybe that's
too.
the appeal,
And
dude.
That's what I'm
what's
saying.
cooler. It's like
I don't
yeah,
know,
man.
like with yours, like, does anyone ever think like you have like a whole room of people making this stuff?
Yeah, well, I don't run an automatic press. It's all manual. And so we deal with a lot of
You said screen printing, like the
Yeah, screen printing.
Oh yeah.
So we deal with a lot of bands on tour that are ordering 800 pieces at a time. It's like, I need 2 weeks to get this to you. And like, even still, that's rushing. And so trying to explain that to people who have no knowledge of screen printing of like, you just give this to me tomorrow. It's
Just
like,
give me a T-shirt today.
like you have no, that's not how it works.
Yeah, I've almost got like a copy and paste email. I've typed it so many times that it's just like type word, send.
Yeah.
But it's just, for people looking for their orders. And, it's hard to tell people, like, it's just, it's not a whole warehouse
Yeah.
of people making these things. It's just me. Like, I'm taking time to answer this email. I'm doing the harnesses, ordering materials, doing
Customer
the shipping,
service.
customer service. Like, it's like everything.
Yeah.
Oh man, dude, that's the customer service to me seems like that would be the most, I don't know, emotionally draining, to have to like walk, because every project is different, every bike build is different. As much as you like to streamline it and simplify it, so and so building bike A versus so and so building bike B, and he wants to route his wires this way versus he wants to route his wires this way. His battery's here versus his battery's here, and his starter's here. It's like
It's
being able to approach those situations with a cool head and be like,
Oh,
okay,
absolutely.
all
Like,
right,
it's
what
not
do you
a
got?
one size fits all,
yeah,
but it's as close as I can get it.
yeah,
So, like, you can't just route wires like I want to mount my key switch up here.
Yeah.
Like, no, it mounts down here. Like,
no, I want it up here. I want to do something totally different than anybody else I've seen on the internet.
well, that's why I started making the other kits too. Like, well, now you can mount your key switch up here.
Yeah. Well, dude, I wish you all the success going forward. I applaud you for being able to even tackle such a project that
thank you.
sounds like not a lot of people are willing to tackle, and hopefully that'll lead to a lot of success with your company going forward.
If anyone does decide to tackle it, you got your work cut out for you.
Yeah.
It's-
Well, thanks for coming to talk with us and stuff, man. This
Oh,
is
thanks for
rad.
having me. It's
Cool
awesome.
conversation. Yeah, man. Matt, your last name's Waterman?
Wordeman.
Worderman. Okay. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, Wordeman. It's
Waterman.
yeah.
Okay.
German, very German sounding.
Very German sounding. Well, if people wanted to reach out to you or find out more about your company, what is the best way for them to get in touch with you?
You can email me, gremlinwiring@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram at Gremlin Wiring. Check out the website, gremlinwiring.com.
Sweet.
It's just type in Google Gremlin Wiring.
Yeah. And you're bound to be in there.
It's somewhere on there. Lowbrow will probably come up first, but I'll be in there somewhere.
That's cool, man. Well, thanks for coming, man. It's really
Oh, absolutely.
cool conversation. So.